The more I get into watches, the more that I love watches, the more that I collect watches, the more that it seems to start affecting other parts of my life, including when I go traveling. Partly because I need to think about which watches I'm going to take with me, which ones I'm going to use, which ones I don't want to leave behind, but also I try then to also incorporate into my travels a little bit of watch-related things. Hello, you're watching James. My name's James, you're watching me, and I am talking about watches, and I've just returned from a trip away, a trip just to go see some family for a week, a trip that, well, had to incorporate watches in a couple of different ways. Firstly, I had to decide which watches that I was going to take with me. Secondly, I then tried to overlap some of my watch-related enthusiasm through my friends that I know that are also fellow watch enthusiasts, but also do some watch-related stuff. So today, I'm just talking a little bit about my travels, just a little bit about what I did, and the watches that I took with me as I overlay a little bit of footage. And firstly, what I had to do was align these travels, these trips on a plane with seeing some friends that I haven't seen for some time that are not just friends, but they're also fellow watch enthusiasts. It was people that I got to catch up socially, but also have a bit of a chat about watches, see some of the watches that they have bought recently, and even go and visit some local boutiques. I was able to get down and see the new Omega store in my local city, a city which I'm not living in currently, but I was able to see some of the new watches, get to see some of the special editions that were there, get to try on some watches that I've been wanting to try on, and get a bit of an understanding of how they are feeling on wrist. And because I knew I was going to be catching up with these friends, I knew I wanted to show them a couple of things that were in my collection, but I also had to think about what watches did I want to take with me? And I knew I didn't want to take too many on this trip. I ended up only taking 3, and I ended up taking 3 for, well, 3 different reasons. Firstly, I took my father's Seiko Pogue, or the Australian version of the Pogue, because I wanted to show it to a friend of mine, but I also wanted to wear it, and because I was visiting my father, it's always nice for him to get to see his watch because he doesn't get to see it very often. I only see him once or twice a year. I also took my new purchase, my Homage SN0144, because, well, I thought it was a great watch to be able to take traveling, an easy watch to wear, but also I did want to show my friends this particular watch. But there was one watch that I just had to take with me. It was my Mont Blanc Nicolas Roussek. And I took it with me for, well, a couple of reasons. But primarily it was because I didn't want to be without it. I've got this really strong connection to this watch. It's something that I seem to have really developed over the last year of ownership of it. And it ends up being then on my wrist a lot. In fact, I would say that it is the most worn watch in my collection, and I knew that even though I was only going to be away for a week, that I knew I wanted it with me. But recently I have been able to pair it also on its original bracelet, and I knew my friends would like to see the bracelet and see how it looks now, so that was the other reason that I took it with me. But what I found quite interesting, and what I did not actually expect, was that I ended up not really wearing the other 2 watches. I wore the Formex Essence for 1 day amongst that 8. I wore that vintage Seiko for about a half a day, but the rest of that trip, the rest of the time that I was away, I wore my Mont Blanc. And it really has just confirmed to me just how important this watch is to me, and how much I like this watch, and how easy it is to wear in different environments. Because when I look down at this watch, I do see that I love it. But I also understand that it's not exactly what I would probably consider, or previously consider, a go-to everyday watch. It's not, or at least it doesn't feel like that. I think that Formex Essence that I took with me is definitely one of those styles of watches. But it has turned out to be a watch that, well, I'm wearing, but I'm still keep being drawn back to my Mont Blanc. I'm now starting to understand a little bit more about my own personal interests in watch, what I sort of need from a watch, and the connection to a watch is rather important. And it does then sort of overlap a little bit beyond the requirement to wear a watch for a certain reason. It's more just, I like having that connection. And this watch, I've definitely formed that connection, and it is a connection that overlaps beyond the sort of day-to-day wearing. Because some of the things that I did, I went off and did some travels around when I was with my father. We went and saw some local interest spots that he has some interest in, and I wore the Mont Blanc. And now that it's, especially because it's on the bracelet, I'm able to wear it in slightly different environments, because previously being on the leather strap meant that it wasn't great to wear if I was a little bit sweaty, but it now allows me to wear it. And it was really interesting now that I'm back home again, I'm still wearing my Mont Blanc. Interestingly enough, I had a few watches waiting for me in the post office when I got back, which I am definitely wearing and enjoying and will be featuring in the upcoming future for some videos, but I still then do keep reverting to wearing this one. So it's been interesting to choose which watches I'm taking, have some time with my friends, share this watch experience, but also get to understand my own personal needs for certain watches for certain reasons. And definitely building upon that requirement to have the connection is a great thing to know about myself and my own collecting. And I hope that it is something that maybe you can translate into your own collecting too, because I'm sure if you look at your own collection and think about why some watches are still there and haven't been sold, or something that you just keep connecting with, it becomes quite an important element of this for me. I'm still learning about watch collecting, I'm still learning about myself, and if we can put them together, maybe I can end up with a better watch collection in the future. Thanks for watching. Here's a couple other videos that you might be interested in watching next.